Hey guys, Katie Mild, welcome to this week's Money Minute. So, this week I want to talk about your little tiny actions. Your actions, good or bad, will compound and snowball over time naturally. So, you have to choose which direction to point your actions and how to get that snowball moving in the right direction. Now, here's the thing when you are making really positive small changes, they compound and inevitably will put you on an incredible trajectory. On the flip side, if you're making little bad decisions every day, or even little decisions that don't feel so bad, they don't feel so dangerous, so much, those little tiny actions compound and take you on a completely negative trajectory. So what does this have to do with your money? What I'd like to do today is show you the power of compounding interest, both positively and negatively. So I'm going to be showing you a couple of charts just so you can see. So often, when we're getting started on saving, when we're getting started on investing, it doesn't feel like our money's really moving. It doesn't feel like a lot is really happening and really growing or doing much change at all. The beauty of compounding interest when you have an extended time period, the magic of it happens in the last few years. On the flip side, if you have debt and you feel like you're just accruing a little bit of debt, just a little bit every year, but you're not really making progress on paying it down, it can very quickly spin out of control in the negative direction. So I'm going to show you a couple of charts, a couple of concrete examples so you can really see how the power of 1%, the power of little changes, positive or negative, can completely alter the trajectory of your life. If that's something you want to listen to, stay tuned. Let's check it out. Okay, so I'm going to give a quick example of how compounding interest can grow and really pick up for you over time. So let's just put in a couple of hypotheticals first. Assuming you're 30 years old, you want to retire in 30 years at 60. We're also going to assume that you already have $50,000 saved for retirement and you plan on contributing $1,000 a month into your retirement accounts. You also assume that on average, your annual return will be 8%. Okay, and this is a little more conservative. You could even take it down and be more conservative and bring it down to a 5 or 6% to take into account maybe some rough years in the market. But on average, you expect an annual return of 8%. Now, in 30 years, your investment could be worth just over $2 million. Now, what's really powerful is the initial balance. You started with 50 grand. You contributed over the course of 30 years another $360,000. But then the growth, the compound interest, the effortless work where you didn't do anything, just time was on your side. The growth was another 1.6 million, giving you a total of in 30 years, a little over 2 million. Now, let's pull up another chart with the same example so you can really see how powerful this is. So again, same numbers, same assumptions. Here's the actual graph of year by year what this looks like. So if you start in 2021 with 50,000 and you do $1,000 a month, 12 grand a year, initially, you're seeing growth, you're seeing strides, but it may not feel like a lot, particularly in these early years, okay? Now, let's fast forward 8 years. Suddenly you started with 50, now you're up to 228, okay, making some beautiful progress, 259. And again, you're seeing growth, and that's wonderful, but it's not necessarily the huge numbers. So now let's fast forward. Let's now see that it is, so your $1 million year, 2043. Okay, so 20 years-ish down the road. That's when you hit about $1 million. Fabulous. Now, you're just a few years out from retirement, right? But now see how big these leaps go. So now you're at 1 million. 1.1 in a year. Hello. 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. Look how quickly this is suddenly accelerating. 1.7. Whoa, right? 1.869, and then boom, target retirement year, 2.37. Like, look at the jump from 1.869 to a little over 2 million. And that's just in that last year. But the point is this, the growth while happening in these early snowball years, it may not feel like a lot. You know you're making progress, but it's not these huge monumental gains. The power of compounding interest really happens in these last few years. So you've gotten the early momentum going, and then you can let this thing go and let it ride. That is the power of compounding interest. Now, on the flip side, let's look really, really quickly at credit card debt and how just a little bit of credit card debt, a little bit of a negative choice, right? And not choosing to prioritize paying off debt, how that can affect. Let's say you have a $5,000 credit card balance. Average American credit card right now has an interest rate of 15%. So we put that in. And let's just say you're making $100 a month in payments towards it. Okay, so you're putting a little bit of money, but you're not really getting aggressive towards paying off that debt. Okay, that original $5,000 of principal, when you only pay $100 a month, it's going to take you 79 months and you'll have paid a lot of interest, right? Almost $2,900 in interest. 37% of the total payment will be in extra interest. Okay. So this is an example of how little changes, even in the negative direction, accruing just little bits of debt. You may think $5,000, what's the big deal? Making a little payment, but not getting aggressive towards it. By not attacking it and really going after it, you're paying almost double in interest, right? So all that to say, compounding interest can either work against you, such as when you have debt and you're not prioritizing paying it off, or it can really, really work for you if you put it on a positive trajectory. If you really want to drive home this point, there's a fabulous book that I've recommended on this channel before called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I want to quickly read one thing from this book that really, really captures the essence of this. Again, the positive or negative changes, the little things, how little changes can completely alter. If you want to predict where you'll end up in life, all you have to do is follow the curve of tiny gains or tiny losses and see how your daily choices will compound 10 or 20 years down the line. The example that I just showed completely and beautifully highlights this example. So now knowing what you know and understanding the power of compounding, how you really see the drastic impacts towards the end, what choices are you going to make today? What tiny 1% tweaks can you make in a positive direction to completely alter the path and the outcome of your life? That's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like the content I'm putting out, hit the bell to subscribe below and tell me in the comments what are some positive changes that you're making in your money life. Until next time, I will see you soon. Have a great weekend. Talk to you later.